A warm good morning to all of you. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning and we're back once again with a fresh edition of Breakfast News. I'm Preeti, with me is Rukma. In the next 1 hour, we'll get you through everything that's making it to the headlines. We'll let you know national updates, international updates, all the action from Tokyo Olympics. Also, we'll get you what all was taken up in Parliament yesterday and how is the day expected in both the houses today. That and also international updates, business updates, a web review, in fact. Also, enough to keep you engaged for the next 1 hour to make sure that your tea or coffee right in the morning tastes even better.
A very good morning to you,
Yes,
Preeti, and to all our viewers as well. And as Preeti said, it's a news-packed 1 hour ahead. We'll be bringing you all the latest updates on Madhya Pradesh, which is the next state after Maharashtra now to be reeling under floods, as the state chief minister spoke with the Prime Minister, who assured all possible help. Many of the districts, Gwalior, Guna among them, are under water and evacuation procedures are on. And it's not just Madhya Pradesh or other states of India, but across the world too. Freak weather as fires break out, not after the Turkey fires and the Dixie, California fires. It's now the news reports of fires in Israel that are coming in. All the COVID updates and much, much more. But first, here are the headlines.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan apprises Prime Minister Modi about the flood situation in Madhya Pradesh. Shivpuri and other areas continue to be affected. Rescue operation by Army, SDRF, NDRF continues. More than 2,000 people rescued safely.
In Parliament, a bill to provide for the constitution of Commission for Air Quality Management in NCR and adjoining areas to be moved in the Lok Sabha. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to move bill to amend Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Act 1961 in the Rajya Sabha.
Union Minister for External Affairs Dr. S. Jaishankar to take part in the India-ASEAN Foreign Ministers meet virtually today. The meeting to focus on COVID-19, cooperation and connectivity.
India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses landmark milestone of 48 crores, more than 51,51,000 vaccine doses administered yesterday. More than 17 crore 33 lakh vaccine doses administered in age group 18 to 44 so far.
In international updates, at least 41 people killed in a road accident in south-central Mali on Tuesday. The incident occurred in a collision after a truck carrying goods and market workers collided with a passenger bus. Further, 33 people were wounded in the collision.
In sports, in the Tokyo Games, Neeraj Chopra qualifies for final of men's javelin throw. Indian boxer Lavlina Borgohain to face Turkish boxer in women's 69 kg semi-final today. Indian women's hockey team to fight against Argentina in first ever Olympic semi-final later in the day.
Indian cricket team to play the first test match against England at Trent Bridge, Nottingham today. The Indian team is in England for a 5-test match series. Alright, those are the top stories. We get you the news in detail now. We begin with the national headlines first.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured all possible help to Madhya Pradesh in this time of crisis as the state reels under floods. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan held a detailed discussion over the telephone with the Prime Minister. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister said that the Prime Minister has been apprised about the flood situation in his state and the ongoing rescue work. Due to the situation worsening, he has also discussed, he said, with the Prime Minister about taking help from the Indian Army in the areas that have been hit by floods. The Chief Minister, who chaired a meeting with officials over the flood situation, said the state has asked for 4 columns of the Army to rescue those who are stranded.
हमारी आर्मी की टीमें ये कोशिश करेगी कि उन स्थानों पर पहुंच के रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन करें, लोगों को सुरक्षित निकालें। एसडीआरएफ की टीम भी लगी है, एनडीआरएफ की टीम भी लगी है, 5 हेलीकॉप्टर है। तो अलग अलग स्थानों पे शिवपुर कला हो, दतिया हो, गुना हो या शिवपुरी हो, जहाँ आवश्यक है, एक जगह ग्वालियर में बताया पानी करके गांव जहाँ दिक्कत है, तो इसके पहले से दिशा निर्देश तैयार करके जहाँ ज्यादा खतरा हो और पता करके वहाँ पहले एयरलिफ्ट करने का प्रयास करेंगे। राहत की बात यह कि कई जगह पानी स्थिर है या घटता है, मुरैना में जरूर बढ़ रहा है, भीड़ मुरैना में चूंकि चंबल का पानी अभी बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन वहां भी ऐसा खतरा नहीं है कि रात में कोई जनहानि की संभावना हो। बाकी जगह हम लोगों को सुरक्षित रखे हुए हैं।
Meanwhile, rescue operations by the Army, SDRF and the NDRF continue. Over 2,000 people have been safely rescued. The Indian Air Force's 3 ALH and B-17 helicopters and 2 more B-17 helicopters have been pressed in for rescue operations in the flood-hit districts of Gwalior, Chambal region. 3 villagers stuck on trees in Shivpuri have been rescued. The Met Department has sounded a red alert for Shivpuri, Shivpur, Guna and 2 other districts, besides orange alert for 9 and yellow alert for another 8 districts.
An update on the nationwide vaccination drive now. In a significant achievement, India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 48 crore landmark milestone. Cumulatively, 48 crore 41 lakh 81,676 beneficiaries were vaccinated so far. More than 51 lakh 51,000 vaccine doses have been administered yesterday. Uttar Pradesh has administered more than 22 lakh doses in a single day on Tuesday. The new phase of universalization of COVID vaccination commenced from 21st of June. 29 lakh 43,889 vaccine doses were administered as the first dose, and 3,87,076 vaccine doses were given as the second dose in the age group of 18 to 44 years yesterday. Cumulatively, 16 crore 34 lakh 85,422 persons in the age group of 18 to 44 years across 37 states and union territories have received their first dose, and a total of 98 lakh 23,204 people have received their second dose since the start of phase 3 of the vaccination drive.
The Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare warned on Tuesday that there are 8 states where the value of the reproductive number for coronavirus COVID-19 exceeds 1. It added that the worry is not just the high value of the number, but also its rising trend. We bring you this report.
COVID-19, the steady decline seen in new cases and also a recent surge seen in positive cases reported in some districts across few states. At least 44 districts are reporting positivity rate more than 10%. Down south Kerala continues to witness surge in positive cases. Active cases in Kerala are nearing 1.5 lakh mark. A central high-level multidisciplinary team on visit to Kerala earlier took stock of the COVID situation and also suggested stringent measures to contain the spread of the virus.
एक टीम ने मल्लापुरम को विजिट किया था और वहां उन्होंने पाया कि एक अपवर्ड ट्रेंड देखा जा रहा है टेस्ट पॉजिटिविटी रेट में, और जो अभी अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 17.26% है। उन्होंने टीम ने ये भी फोकस किया, उन्होंने टीम ने स्टेट को यह भी एडवाइस किया कि एक्टिव सर्वेलेंस बढ़ाने की जरूरत है। अभी मुख्यतः ये देखा गया है कि जो लोग सिम्टम्स फील करते हैं वो टेस्टिंग के लिए आ रहे हैं।
According to the Health Ministry, 49.85% of total cases of last week were reported from Kerala. According to Health Ministry, 8 states have active number of COVID-19 cases between 10,000 to 1 lakh and 27 states have less than 10,000 active cases. Mr. Agarwal, the Joint Secretary Health Ministry, in daily briefing on Tuesday said there are around 57 districts which are reporting more than 100 cases on daily basis. The Health Ministry also added that the overall recovery rate has touched 97.4% with active cases rallying around 4 lakh. Health Ministry has made it clear, despite high number of COVID cases being reported across the world, the pandemic is far from over, and that as far as India is concerned, the second wave is still not over. There are at least 8 states with RF factor or the reproduction rate more than 1.
8 ऐसी स्टेट्स हैं जहां रिप्रोडक्टिव नंबर आज देश में 1 से अधिक है, और उसमें भी मुख्य जो हमारे लिए एक चिंता का विषय होना चाहिए, ना कि यह नंबर अधिक है, इसके साथ ही इस नंबर का एक इंक्रीजिंग ट्रेंड दिख रहा है। हमने इस विषय में कई बार इस विषय में चर्चा की है कि जरूरी है, हमें ध्यान रखना है कि वायरस नहीं थका या हम नहीं थक सकते। हमें कंटिन्यूड बेसिस पर कोविड-19 से अपनी लड़ाई को जारी रखना है।
Meanwhile, mega vaccination drive across the country continues to gain a lot of traction with at least 48 crore vaccines being administered nationwide. Health Ministry has said vaccine production and meeting new goals and targets on the vaccine front are being implemented on war footing. Health Ministry has reiterated work on vaccines for children is being accelerated but sounded caution against Delta variant, adding that there is no room for complacency.
Delta variant हमारे देश में फैला हुआ है, डोमिनेंट प्रॉब्लम है, वेरी डोमिनेंट प्रॉब्लम है और यही डेल्टा वेरिएंट ग्लोबल पेंडेमिक का भी अब हिस्सा बन चुका है और अमेरिकाज में 30% इंक्रीज हुई है न्यू केसेस में, वेस्टर्न पैसिफिक रीजन में WHO के 25% इंक्रीज हुई है। वैक्सीनेशन एक कारगर तरीका है अपने आप को बचाने का और पेंडेमिक को कंट्रोल करने का।
According to the Health Ministry, it has been noted that COVID-19 cases being reported from a limited trajectory or area for which containment zones should be set up at local level and stringent guidelines should be implemented. Meanwhile, Ministry continues to press 5-point mantra of testing, tracking, treatment, vaccination and COVID-appropriate behavior to put a complete full stop to the pandemic. With inputs from Nitendran for DD India.
In Uttarakhand, the ongoing COVID-induced curfew has been extended from today till August 10th. However, the vaccination drive will continue during the restrictions. The state government has also permitted a maximum of 50 persons to participate in funeral processions. During previous relaxations, the government offices were allowed to function with 100% capacity. Shops and businesses in the state were also permitted to open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Water parks were permitted to open with 50% capacity. Meanwhile, the state government on August 2nd reopened schools for students of classes 9 till 12th. Schools for classes 6 to 8 will reopen from August 16. In this regard, the Uttarakhand government issued a set of standard operating procedures that had to be followed.
And amidst the relaxation of corona restrictions in Mumbai, the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation or BMC has made it clear that night curfew will continue in the city from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. There will be no restrictions on movement from 5 in the morning till 11 at night, but the ban on gatherings will continue. The BMC also made it clear that all shops will remain open till 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Medical and medicine shops will remain open 24 hours. All sports activities have been allowed to start, but swimming pools and sports activities where there is physical contact will continue to be banned.
On the third day of the third week of monsoon session, Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav will introduce the Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Bill 2021 for consideration and passage in the Lok Sabha. Added to this, Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar will introduce the Coconut Development Board Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passage. Also, a discussion has been scheduled in Lok Sabha under Rule 193 on the COVID-19 situation in the country. In Rajya Sabha, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will introduce the Limited Liability Partnership Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passage today. Also, the Finance Minister will introduce the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Amendment Bill 2021. Tribal Affairs Minister Arjun Munda will also present the Constitution's Scheduled Tribes Order Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passage. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia will introduce the Airports Economic Regulatory Authority of India Amendment Bill 2021, which will be discussed and considered. Apart from this, Finance Minister will also introduce the General Insurance Business Nationalization Amendment Bill 2021 in Rajya Sabha, and this bill was passed by Lok Sabha. All right, to get us more, our correspondent Amritpal Singh is joining. Amrit, good morning. We've given detail of the business that is to be taken up in both the Houses of Parliament today. But again, the crux remains about the behavior and the intentions of the opposition. What do you make of the constant protest and repeated ruckus that is being created in both the houses to ensure that no work or no legislative business is carried out? Even the Prime Minister has rebuked the opposition for its behavior.
Well, yes, that's the opposition stand, Preeti. The opposition feels that there are issues on which they want a debate in the House, though the government has reached out to them, and also the presiding officers of both houses have repeatedly said that debate can be held, but they believe that the opposition insists that the debate be held first and the farmers' laws, for example, be scrapped. The government says it's ready to discuss any resolution of the logjam, but we are in the third week of the monsoon session, but that really hasn't happened. The opposition being insistent on discussing them first and saying that the government's intentions are not right. The government insisting that it's open to debate. We see constant uproars. We see the opposition parliamentarians protesting both within the House, the well of the House, holding placards, etc., raising slogans, and outside the House as well. So that logjam continues, and today one expects it to be no different, though the government has its own list of agenda. In fact, the opposition is accusing the government of pushing through its agenda without debate. But again, both sides, it's a blame game going on. The government saying it's the opposition which is trying to stall the parliament at the cost of people's issues, and therefore the government has to bring in and conduct business. The opposition saying that it's the government which is brazenly, without by sheer voice voting, getting important legislations through. So the logjam continues, Preeti.
Amrit, how would you evaluate the loss to the business of the House in terms of bills that could have been passed, bills that should have been passed or discussed even in the House? And how do you view the road ahead? The monsoon session, well, not many days left now.
Bills are being introduced, bills are being passed in a democracy or in a democratic setup. This is not the optimal way to do it. I mean, it would have been better if there would have been discussion, debate on it, and then bills would have been passed. But, unfortunately, that's where things stand. The opposition has its own stand. The government says, as I said, that they have to conduct business. The government's listed more bills to be introduced and passed today, the bills that you mentioned. So that's the way it is going on. There is, of course, a certain loss to the nation in terms of debate that should have gone into the passing of these bills and becoming laws. But that's where the situation stands. The opposition, when questioned about it, says, all this can wait. There are important issues like Pegasus, the farmers issue, on which the government should listen to them, and they should scrap those farm laws. But the government insistent that, well, they've done what they've done and they're ready for discussion on it, but it cannot be a unilateral imposition of the opposition's will. The opposition has its own point. So despite the logjam, bills, yes, are getting passed, but without debate.
Well, many thanks to you, Amritpal, for joining us there, and you keep your eyes on that story. We'll be back with you throughout the day for more. And with Parliament's proceedings being repeatedly stalled by the opposition's protests over the Pegasus issue, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday slammed it for its conduct, including tearing papers and making derogatory remarks on the way bills have been passed, as he accused them of insulting the legislature and the constitution. Here's more.
Pandemonium continues in both houses of parliament as the opposition protests on many issues continues unabated. One comment on the proceedings and legislative business by TMC member invited a strong repartee from the government and the BJP. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has in fact called it an insult of the parliament during the meeting of the BJP parliamentary party meet.
TMC के द्वारा जो ट्वीट हुआ है उसका मैं समझता हूं, और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये कहा कि इट इज इंसल्ट टू द पार्लियामेंट, इंसल्ट टू द पीपल हु हैव इलेक्टेड द एमपीज। तो मैं इसका पूरा कंडेम करता हूं, और प्रधानमंत्री जी भी इसके बारे में बहुत आक्रोश प्रकट किया है।
Sir,
you are crossing all the limits and you are bringing bad name to Parliament and bad name to yourself. Please put your respect to
चाट पापड़ी की तरह बिल पास किए जा रहे हैं। यहाँ पर जो माननीय सदस्य बैठे हुए हैं, यहाँ पर चाट पापड़ी बना रहे हैं क्या?
Meanwhile, legislative business was attempted in both the houses. Rajya Sabha passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2021, while the Lok Sabha passed the Essential Defence Services Bill 2021 and the Tribunals Reforms Bill 2021. Both the houses attempted to run the question hour despite the pandemonium. Important questions on the Ministries of Agriculture and Health and Family Welfare were answered by the respective ministers. The presiding officers have come down heavily on the unruly members for their conduct.
Allow the house to function. People are watching. Children are watching. The entire country is really getting organized by our continuous disruptions. We are sent here for discussing. Discuss, debate and decide. Do not disrupt.
माननीय सदस्यगण, ये सदन आपका है, इसका सम्मान और मर्यादा रखने आपकी जिम्मेदारी है। आपको देश की जनता ने इसलिए चुनकर भेजा था, आप अपनी बात रखें, किसान के मुद्दों की बात रखें, लेकिन आप नारेबाजी कर रहे हैं, तख्ते ले रहे हैं, ये उचित नहीं है।
The opposition ruckus has severely impacted the working of the parliament during the monsoon session, and despite repeated requests by the government and the presiding officers, pandemonium continues to affect the legislative business. Parliament team, DD India.
Union Minister for External Affairs Dr. S. Jaishankar will take part in the India-ASEAN Foreign Ministers meet virtually today. The meeting will deliberate on COVID-19 cooperation and connectivity. Brunei will be the host of the meeting, and the meeting is part of the annual mechanism, and the group has a similar mechanism with the US, Australia, Russia, Canada and New Zealand. Dr. S. Jaishankar will also participate in the East Asia Foreign Ministers meeting, which includes 10 ASEAN nations and 8 other countries, which include India, China, Japan, Korea, Australia, Russia, New Zealand and the US. The meeting will focus on regional political security and also in the lead up to the East Asia Summit in late October. Apart from External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, the meeting would have Russia's Sergei Lavrov, China's Wang Yi and US Secretary of State Antony Blinken taking part in the meeting.
Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhaduria is in Israel for an official visit, and on an invitation from Major General Amikam Norkin, Commander of the Israel Air Force. As strategic partners, India and Israel enjoy strong multidimensional ties, an important pillar of which is defense cooperation and military-level exchanges. Both sides will discuss enhancement in the depth and scope of bilateral exchanges between the two air forces.
The Central Board of Secondary Education has declared Class 10th result. Pass percentage this year is 99.04%, with once again girls performing better than the boys. Boys' pass percentage is 98.89%, while that of girls is 99.24%. Out of total 20,97,128 students, 20,76,997 have passed the Class 10th exam. 2,962 students scored between 90 to 95%, and 57,824 students scored above 95%. 100% Kendriya Vidyalaya students and 99.99% Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya students passed the exam. Trivandrum zone performed best with 99.99% pass percentage.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated students for passing the CBSE Class 10 exams. The PM in a tweet said, "Congratulations to my young friends who have successfully passed the CBSE Class 10 examinations. My best wishes for their future endeavours."
And up next, we get to all the international updates in our segment Across the Globe. In Mali, at least 41 people were killed when a truck carrying goods and market workers collided with a passenger bus in south-central region. The incident occurred when truck's driver lost control after a tire burst and the vehicle swirled into the path of the bus. A further 33 people were wounded in the collision. Mali's Transport Minister expressed grief over the incident and said the government will investigate the incident. Such accidents are a regular occurrence in the former French colony, where the poor state of the roads has been a source of social tension.
Europe is grappling with a summer of extreme weather, from heavy flooding in the north to the severe heat waves and fires that have engulfed several areas in the Mediterranean region. The heat wave and an accompanying drought have fueled several wildfires in Greece and other parts of southern Europe, including Croatia, Italy and Turkey. Greek firefighters were on Tuesday battling a new forest fire that had broken out at the foot of Mount Parnitha, north of Athens, prompting hundreds to flee their homes. A village and children's camp were evacuated and a section of the nearby highway was closed to traffic. The fire disrupted train services, the capital's power supply, and forced authorities to seal off part of a national motorway. Temperatures of more than 40 degrees Celsius and high winds have fanned more than 100 wildfires in different areas of Greece in recent days.
In Turkey, firefighters were battling wildfires along the country's southern coast that forced tens of thousands to flee from their homes. The fires were encroaching on the residential areas and threatened a power plant. 11 fires were still blazing, fanned by strong winds, temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius and low humidity. Meanwhile, firefighters using planes and helicopters with locals with buckets of water battled wildfires raging in Turkey for the 7th day on Tuesday. 2 firefighting planes from Spain and 1 from Croatia also joined the teams from Russia, Iran, Ukraine and Azerbaijan to battle the blazes after Turkey requested European support. At least 8 people have died and homes and vast tracts of forest land have been destroyed in a total of 156 wildfires which have erupted in the last week. Strong winds and a dry atmosphere have allowed the fires to rapidly expand.
And fires in Turkey have led to the evacuation of thousands from seaside resorts and villages. Holidaymakers in the Aegean coastal town of Bodrum were forced to evacuate their summer homes as raging wildfires engulfed the holiday resort. Plumes of black smoke rose from hillsides and forests near the coastal resorts of Bodrum and Marmaris.
In Israel, firefighters are working out to put out a large fire which is spreading across Jerusalem neighborhood of Givat Shaul near Har Nof, which started on Tuesday evening. The fire started in the Givat Shaul industrial area and residents close to the location have been evacuated. Roads have been closed to traffic and the local public have been asked to avoid the scene of a fire. Firefighter planes are working with ground teams in order to extinguish it. Israel entered a massive heat wave on Monday, which is expected to last until Sunday of next week. Israel Met Service has predicted unseasonably hot conditions in the mountainous regions.
And in the United States, most parts of the West are battling with wildfires and extreme heat wave conditions. Increased fire activity increased on Tuesday from California's largest wildfire, forcing evacuations for many communities located to the north and east of Lake Almanor in Plumas County. As of now, the Dixie Fire has already burned over 253,000 acres and has been contained just 35%. Nearly 5,170 personnel have been assigned to the fire. More than 7,144 structures are now threatened by the blaze, which is down from the more than 10,000 threatened earlier in the week. 67 structures have been destroyed. The Dixie Fire is now the 11th largest fire in California's history.
Gunshots were fired on Tuesday morning near the entrance of the Pentagon, resulting in multiple injuries. The Pentagon, which houses the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense, was briefly put under a lockdown due to shooting incident at a nearby metro station. The lockdown was later lifted and the building reopened a short while later, according to the Pentagon Force Protection Agency. The shooting incident took place outside the building on the metro bus platform, which is a major entrance to the Pentagon used by thousands of personnel every day entering and leaving the building. Meanwhile, the agency has advised people to stay away from metro rail entrance and bus platform area as it was still an active crime scene.
Meanwhile, taking stock of the crisis being faced by Ethiopia's war-ravaged Tigray region, the United Nations Aid Chief Martin Griffiths said on Tuesday that aid agencies need more access to the region to deliver aid. The UN says that nearly 4 lakh people are living in famine conditions in Tigray, with more than 90% of the population needing emergency food aid. The United Nations Children Agency warned last week that more than 1 lakh children in Tigray could suffer life-threatening malnutrition in the next 12 months, a tenfold increase in normal numbers. Spokespeople for Ethiopia's Prime Minister and a government task force on Tigray did not respond to a request for comment.
Calculated need, 100 trucks a day. To make this work, we need to change the circumstances that have seen trucks moving in rather slowly. We need assured access routes by land, as well as, of course, our own flights going in and out of Mekelle. From a wide range of meetings with women's groups, internally displaced people, teachers, local community, health workers, that the needs that have been spoken about in Tigray are indeed what they have been advertised as. They are huge, they are urgent, they are important.
The ruling party of Nicaragua, the Sandinista National Liberation Front, has named current President Daniel Ortega as their presidential candidate for the upcoming elections on November 7th. Ortega was chosen by unanimous vote. This will be his 4th run for presidency since 2007. Ortega's wife and current Vice President, Rosario Murillo, was chosen as his running mate. Scores of prominent residents, including 7 politicians aiming to run for president in November, have been arrested amidst accusations of plots to stage a coup. Many have fled abroad. Meanwhile, international pressure has mounted on Nicaragua. Also, the European Union on Monday announced that it would place sanctions against Rosario Murillo, one of her sons, and also 6 civil servants.
And US President Joe Biden on Tuesday said that he believes New York Governor Andrew Cuomo should resign after a report by the New York Attorney General's office found that Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women. New York Attorney General Letitia James's investigation into sexual harassment allegations found that Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women. The office found that Cuomo harassed current and former state employees as well as a number of women outside of state government, as the office released a lengthy report on the investigation. The New York governor, meanwhile, denied the findings of the 5-month independent inquiry. In a recorded statement, he said he had acted inappropriately and made clear he has no plans to resign.
And up next, we take a look at the COVID-19 situation from across the world. The world continues its fight against the virus. So far, 20 crore people have contracted the virus, while recoveries have surpassed 18 crore. Over 42.58 lakh people have lost their lives globally. In the past few days in the US, COVID cases have been on a swift increase. The country remains worst affected by the pandemic, with 3.58 crore people infected by the virus so far. Over 6.3 lakh deaths have occurred due to the virus from the country.
And Japan, meanwhile, is seeing a sharp increase in coronavirus cases. Tokyo, which had a record high of 4,058 new infections on Saturday, had another 3,709 cases yesterday. Sagara said the number of beds that could accept COVID patients at his hospital is now close to 0, adding that if infections keep rising, the hospital will have to limit surgery and other non-COVID-19 treatments. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga announced on Monday that Japan will hospitalize only COVID patients who are seriously ill and those at risk of becoming so, while others could isolate at home. Japan on Monday expanded its state of emergency to include 3 prefectures near Tokyo and the western prefecture of Osaka. An existing emergency in Tokyo and Okinawa is now set to last through August 31st. The Olympics will be held until August 8th.
Most parts of the world have faced the worst economic effects of the pandemic. In Chile, artisanal fishermen burned barricades on the streets of Chile on Tuesday to protest their exclusion in a financial package to ease the economic fallout of the virus. In Talcahuano and Coquimbo, protesters set tires alight in an effort to heap pressure on authorities for some economic relief in the aftermath of an extended lockdown in the South American country. Authorities in Chile have told media that informal fishermen not registered officially as a company are to be excluded from the economic package.
And with Australia seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases, the Qantas Airways have been temporarily idling nearly 2,500 employees without pay for at least 2 months in a bid to cope with fresh COVID restrictions in Australia, slashing domestic travel demand. The decision will directly impact domestic pilots, cabin crew and airport workers, mostly in New South Wales, the airline said, adding that no job losses were expected from the move. Qantas said it had gone from operating almost 100% of its pre-COVID domestic flying capacity in May to less than 40% in July due to lockdowns meant to curb the rapid spread of the Delta variant of coronavirus. The country's most populous city, Sydney, has been hit particularly hard by infections and will remain in lockdown for at least another 3.5 weeks amid a drive to get the population vaccinated against COVID as quickly as possible.
Up next, we get to all the updates from the world of sports in Sports Track. The Indian cricket team would start the second leg of their England tour when it squares off with Joe Root's team for the first test of the 5-match series today at Trent Bridge in Nottingham. India vs England Test series will kickstart the second edition of ICC World Test Championship, which will be played in the 2021-23 cycle. Injury-hit Indian cricket team got another blow as opener Mayank Agrawal ruled out of India playing 11 for the first test. He was hit on helmet during the practice session.
And we now bring you all the latest updates from the Tokyo Olympics. Javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has qualified for the men's javelin throw final in his first attempt itself as he went past the qualification mark of 83.50 meters easily. He registered a throw of 86.65 meters.
In the 57 kg category, wrestler Ravi Kumar from India reached into quarterfinal, defeating Colombian wrestler by technical superiority. All right, joining us for all the Tokyo action is our correspondent Ashok Martholia. Ashok, good morning. Let us know what all is to be, witnessed at the Olympic grounds today. We tell our viewers that it's a important match for Lovlina Bargonan, and also let us know more what is to be expected.
Well, Preeti, good news from Tokyo. In the morning, our biggest medal hope, Neeraj Chopra, he qualified for finals. Now it remains to be seen how he plays on the 17th August, where he will play final. So, but Shivpal was unfortunate; he couldn't qualify for the finals. Ravi Kumar Dahiya in 57 kg category, he also reached into quarterfinal. So overall, the good performance is coming from the Tokyo. In the day 11 a.m., Lovlina, who is also assured the bronze medal in boxing, she will play her semi-final against Turkish opponent, and she is her Turkish opponent is a reigning world champion. As we know that Lovlina fought very bravely in her first bout, and in the evening we have a hockey match, women's hockey match, semi-final against Argentina. So there is a lot of happening in the day, but this time the wrestling is going on right now.
Right, Ashok, when we talk about Neeraj Chopra, he's clearly emerging as our next medal hope after we have had some joy with, well, first it was Mirabai Chanu and then Lovlina Borgohain also doing very well. But when we talk about Neeraj Chopra, how historic would you say a victory on his part would be for India?
Well, Rukma, as we know that in 2016, Neeraj Chopra, when he participated in under 20 World Championship, he set a world record by throwing 86.15. So I think he has improved a lot now. His personal best is 88.07. So I think he is, as we saw today, in his first throw he qualified for the finals. So if he managed to come near his personal best, I think he's a great chance, because his nearest rival is Germany's Vetter. Jonas Vetter is his nearest rival, I think. But today's, if we see Jonas' performance, he scored 85 point something. So I think he's doing very well. Now, what it remains to be seen how he perform on the final, because sometimes it happens that the opponent they save their energy for the finals. So, but today he performed very well, and it's I think good for India that he qualified for the finals.
All right, Ashok, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. We'll come back to you again during the day to get more on how the action is developing in Tokyo grounds.
Moving on now.
Yes, let's get to action from hockey now. India and Argentina will play the first women's hockey semi-final of Tokyo Olympics today. Argentina defeated Rio Games bronze medalist Germany 3-0 to qualify for the semi-finals. On the other hand, India pulled off a big surprise, beating three-time Olympic champion and world number 2 Australia 1-0 to become the second team to reach the last four stage. The Indian hockey stars, who hail from different backgrounds, overcame plethora of challenges, hardships and also fought many battles in their journey. The next report brings you a glimpse of each hockey player along with their match details scheduled.
Etching themselves in the history of the Indian sporting landscape, the women's hockey squad is all set to play their first ever Olympic semi-final in 4 decades on Wednesday, August 4, in the ongoing Tokyo Olympics. After stunning three-time champions Australia 1-0 on Monday, the Indian squad will now face Argentina, who have lost only a single match against New Zealand in the group stage of the ongoing Tokyo Olympics. Let's take a look at the Indian women's hockey squad, who are leaving no stone unturned to grab the Olympic medal for the country. Rani Rampal made her international debut at the age of 14. She hails from Kurukshetra district of Haryana and is currently the skipper of the Indian women's team. Savita Punia. With 200 international appearances, Savita Punia is currently the vice captain and goalkeeper of the team. Punia comes from Sirsa district of Haryana and is still playing with great fervour at the age of 31. Sushila Chanu, with over 150 international caps, Sushila Chanu captained India at Rio Olympics 2016. 29-year-old Sushila Chanu comes from Manipur and is currently positioned as the midfielder. Vandana Kataria, 29-year-old Indian forward Vandana Kataria comes from Roshanabad village and has become the first Indian woman to score a hat-trick in hockey at the ongoing Tokyo Olympics. Nikki Pradhan, 27-year-old Nikki, is the first ever player from Jharkhand to represent the country in Olympics. Nikki is currently positioned as a defender representing India at the Tokyo Olympics. Deep Grace Ekka, the 27-year-old, is a two-time Asian Games medalist who initially wanted to play as the goalkeeper. However, Deep Grace Ekka is currently positioned as the defender in the squad and hails from Sundargarh district of Odisha. Neha Goyal represented India in 2011 Junior World Cup at the age of 14, and since then her journey has been unstoppable. Hailing from Haryana, Neha is currently positioned as the midfielder in the squad. Salima Tete. 19-year-old Salima comes from Simdega's Badki Chahar village. Salima is currently positioned as a midfielder in the squad. Navneet Kaur. 25-year-old Navneet Kaur comes from Haryana's Shahabad Markhanda. One of the most consistent forwards in the Indian team, Navneet Kaur is the one who scored a late winner for India in the quarterfinals against Australia in the Tokyo Olympics. Udita Duhan. The 23-year-old Duhan comes from Haryana's Hisar district, having played 32 matches till date. Udita is positioned as the defender in the current squad. Nisha Varsi, the 26-year-old, comes from Sonipat and made her international debut in 2019. Neha is currently positioned as a midfielder in the squad. Lalre Siami, the 21-year-old Lal Rem Siami, comes from Mizoram's Kolasib town and is the first female player of her state to participate in the Olympics. Lal Rem Siami is currently positioned as a forward in the current squad. Monica Malik, 27-year-old Monica Malik, comes from Haryana and played an important role in booking India's berth at the Tokyo Olympics. Malik is positioned as a midfielder in the current squad. Sharmila Devi, 19-year-old Sharmila Devi hails from Haryana and made her senior debut in 2019. Sharmila Devi is currently positioned as the forward striker in the squad. Gurjeet Kaur, drag flicker Gurjeet Kaur scored the only goal from India's lone penalty corner in the 22nd minute to beat Australia. The 26-year-old hails from Amritsar's Miadi Kalan and is all set to represent India at the historic semi-final. Navjot Kaur. And lastly, midfielder Navjot Kaur, who hails from Haryana's Kurukshetra, made her international debut in 2012. Kaur, who recounts her first appearance at the World Cup and the most memorable moment, is all set to create history in the ongoing Tokyo Olympics. While the squad is all set to represent India in the historic semi-final clash at the Tokyo Olympics, cheers are pouring in from all corners of the country for our powerful women's team, who will be up against Argentina with grit and determination. Sports Desk, DD India.
Lavlina Borgohain will be in pursuit of history when she meets world champion Busanaz Surmeneli of Turkey in the welterweight women's boxing semi-final at the Tokyo Olympics today. The 23-year-old Indian boxer is already assured of a medal, the country's third in the event after Vijender Singh and Mary Com's bronze medals. And joining us now is our correspondent Kamal Bora from Guwahati. Kamal, well, Lavlina Borgohain, a young girl from Golaghat, set to make history. It will be the first such medal that that India will be winning, and also, well, coming from the state of Assam, a great source of inspiration for our youngsters there.
Yes, Rukma, already the Lavlina has made history because see, when she qualified for the Olympic, then only it was a history for the whole state because she's the first lady from the state who has been qualified for Olympic. At the same time, today he has already assured a medal for the whole country. So it itself is a huge achievement. So this is the reason, the whole Golaghat, his birthplace, and not Golaghat only, the whole state, the whole country today is feeling proud. And at this moment, how his own family are feeling right now. I am here with Mr. Prasanta Das. He is the man behind her success, I have to say, because he is the person who taught her this martial arts for the first time. After that only she shifted to boxing. So at this moment, how he is feeling right now, how he coached her. So let's know from him directly. You just tell me how her journey started and how you taught her. How was her performance at that time? So overall, just give us a glimpse about it.
First of all, I congratulate Lavlina Borgohain for her semi-final bout, which will be held at 11 a.m. against Turkey's Busanaz Surmeneli, and I hope Lavlina easily win this match. And I think yes, and she has started his combat sports career under my guidance. Actually, I taught Muay Thai and kickboxing both. And during that time, Lavlina practicing very hard, and I think for that today he has achieved his ambition and goal, and I hope for the best. And I want to give a message through your channel. Wish you all the best. Go for glory, go for gold.
So I have seen that it's raining right now, but the enthusiasm among the people, it's not coming down. It's quite high on regarding her match. So why this is environment right now here? So how this movement is so important for the whole Golaghat?
Actually, due to rain, the people they are not coming. I think during 11 a.m. all the people of Dhansari subdivision and our in Borpathar, they will come and enjoy Loveliness semi-final bout, and all we are hope for the best.
Okay, now let me go to some other person. They are also from here. So how? Yes.
Well, we don't have much time.
So let's know from them itself how they are feeling right now.
Okay.
We are very much excited, cheered up, and actually from being such a small place, he has gone to such a big height of achievement. It's very much a moment of proud for us.
Yes, indeed, a moment of pride, and also...
But still, she is now representing our country.
Yes, indeed, Kamal, good wishes pouring in from rest of the country for Lovelina, and in fact, our correspondent there managed to get in reactions of one of Lovelina's mentors, and the entire country is hoping for the best, and let's hope the day proves to be good when we talk of the match which she will be playing against her Turkish opponent. Let's get you more news, or before that, let's quickly get you the web news review, a segment which we get for you every day, wherein a correspondent joins us with the top stories published in the social media platforms.
A very good morning to you, Arun. It's over to you now. What stories have you selected for us today?
Good morning, Preeti and Rukma. So it's Olympics fever all over. So let me begin with the Olympics news only. Now, PV Sindhu has come back to India. Now, there's a news article from Mint which says that PV Sindhu's brand value is set to soar post Olympic medal win. That means 60% hike in the brand value of PV Sindhu. And of course, there are national and international brands lined up to sign PV Sindhu for their brand endorsements. So there are close to 10 brands that PV Sindhu is endorsing as of now. But yes, there's 60% hike in the fee of PV Sindhu as far as the brand value is concerned. Second big article I picked up from Times of India, it's about the stock market. Now, Nifty surging the all-time record high. So now we are witnessing that yesterday there was a huge rally in the stock market. Sensex was up by 246 points and Nifty surged by 837 points. Now, Nifty is at all-time high of 16,131. There are a couple of factors for it. Good IIP numbers, eyes on the RBI monetary policy, the factory output is decent, and of course the economic recovery is happening, and that's the reason we have witnessed the stock market surging at a Nifty specifically new highs. Now, third big article is from Economic Times. It says that electric vehicles exempted from registration certification fees. This will pave the way to give a major push to the electric vehicle in the market. There is no need for any kind of registration certificate fee if in case it's an electric vehicle. So this is a notification from the Transport Ministry side. Now, last news article is from DNA. Now, it says that RBI's new rule on checks may result in penalties if you are not careful. So the point over here is that now checks will also be cleared on the on holidays, gazetted holidays, Saturdays and Sundays as well. So you need to keep the cash in your account so that if in case the checks get cleared on the holidays or weekends or gazetted holidays, your check does not bounces. If in case a check bounces, there might be penalties on you. So now the new rule is that on weekends, on holidays, on gazetted holidays also, the checks will get cleared. But yes, you need to assure that there is cash in your account when the checks get cleared, so that there is no penalty on you. Well, so these are some of the news articles that I have picked up for you. But for other news, back to you, Rukma and Preeti.
All right, Arun, thank you for joining in with that web news review today.
Time now for the weather forecast, or rather look at temperatures recorded in cities and towns across India. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Breakfast News. We hope you enjoyed our show, and as we go, we'd like to reiterate the message that the fight against coronavirus is not yet over. Even in Tokyo, which is hosting the Olympic Games this year, the surge is alarming at this point.
Yes.
So do wear a mask, maintain COVID appropriate behavior at all times, and get yourself vaccinated.
Yes, on that note, we end the bulletin every day, but also we get you some visuals which have that feel-good factor, which we are sure stay with you all through the day. And today we're leaving you with visuals of Olympic ring crop circles that are amazing people as part of a living puzzle in Germany's Bavaria. A cornfield in southern Germany annually throws caution to the wind, inviting visitors to make their way through all manner of themed mazes. Take a look. Have a good day ahead. Bye-bye.